Hi guys, welcome back to the Mina Does Art Stuff YouTube channel. My name is Mina and on this channel we do art stuff. So today we are back with our colour comparison series, and today we are taking a look at some mostly Caput Mortuum hematite type colours and a couple of more reddish brown colours. I've got a few of the earth tones coming up in over a couple of videos, so this one is more of the reddish earth tones, I guess. There's still more coming. I've got a whole set just for burnt siennas, and then I've got some of the other browns in another set. I just had to break it up somehow. So we've got 6 Caput Mortuum hematite colours and then 3 of like a lot more reddish brown colours down the bottom here. So we're going to start with Sennelier Caput Mortuum PR101, and I think the earth tones are going to come out sort of like together, and I just can't remember what order it's going to be right now, so I don't know if there's been another one released already or not. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so there's the Caput Mortuum there. The one that I had from Sennelier was just like super wet in the tube, so when I poured it out it just kind of kept spreading on the palette. These Caput Mortuum / hematite colours are typically very opaque. They can be quite granulating as well, so it'll be interesting to see which ones are granulating and which ones are not. And yeah, they're mostly, I mean, the ones we're looking at today are PR101 or PR102. And again, PR101, PR102 are pigments that can be used for a variety of different shades of reds and browns. And even like slightly more like earthy oranges as well. Alright, apologies if you can hear that noise in the background. That is the rain. There is not much I can do about it, unfortunately. It is what it is. Okay. Sennelier. And then I have Winsor & Newton's Caput Mortuum Violet, but I don't have this one in a pan at the moment, so I'm just going to squeeze out a tiny little dab onto the paper. Okay, hopefully that wasn't too much. And this version is also PR101. So straight off the bat, I can see this one has more pronounced granulation than the Sennelier one, which is not surprising because Sennelier typically is not known for its super granulating colours. Then we have White Knight's Caput Mortuum. If I can find where that is on this palette, is it this one? Yeah, there we go. This is also PR101. Another granulating opaque watercolour. It's weird, I like this colour in theory, but I struggle to use it in my work, so I don't know. Not sure what to do about it, to be honest. How would you use this colour in your artwork if you do use Caput Mortuum or this sort of shade of like a reddish brown? Then we have 2 from Romish Small. I have their Caput Mortuum and then also their Hematite Violet. Both of those are PR102, and I actually think they're very similar colours. I almost think they're almost identical. You definitely don't need both. I have both only because they came as freebies before on like previous orders in the like a long time ago. Alright, first up we have Caput Mortuum. And then we have the Hematite Violet. Like I said, very similar. I'd say maybe a little bit darker, a little bit more violet leaning than the Caput Mortuum, but you really do not need both colours at all. I don't. They're so similar. Can't see why you would need two versions of this pigment. Or okay, and then we have Da Vinci's Violet Iron Oxide. That's PR101. Actually, I'd say out of all of them, the one that looks the most different is the Hematite Violet by Roma Schmall compared to all the others. But even then, I'm not sure. You definitely don't need 6 versions of this in your palette. Right, next up we have a couple from Daniel Smith. We have Daniel Smith's Lunar Red Rock and Permanent Brown. Those are the two. Alright, so Lunar Red Rock is another PR101. This is a granulating sort of reddish earth colour, so this one kind of goes with the previous ones a little bit, but it's a bit more of a brighter red brown than the Caput Mortuums and the Hematites. But when looking at all the different earth tones, this seemed like the best sheet to put it on. I was trying to divide up the earth tones in a way that made sense, where they would be with other similar enough colours to make the comparisons worthwhile. Then we have Daniel Smith's Permanent Brown. This is PBR25. I believe this is also known as Benzimidazzolone Brown or Imidazzolone Brown. Something dazzolone. Either Benzimidazzolone or Imidazzolone. Can't remember which. It's a really lovely transparent red-brown colour. My Mary Blue has their versions called Dragon's Blood, which is a really fun name. And then Magello, which is our next one, theirs is just called Red Brown, which I feel like is a fairly accurate description of this pigment. It is a red brown. PBR25. I believe Roma Schmall have a version of this colour as well. I can't remember what theirs is called. I think theirs is called Benzimidazzolone Brown. But I only have 2 of these pigments, so I just threw them here together at the bottom of this sheet. They don't necessarily go with the rest of the sheet, but I wasn't sure where else to put them. Like I said, there was only 2, so I thought I'd put them here. Okay, I'm going to set this aside now to dry completely, and then we will come back and take a look at these colours and see what we think of them once they're dry. Alright guys, we are back to look at these Hematite Caput Mortuum colours and a couple of other browns down at the bottom here. So first up, looking at these top 6 colours, having seen them all dry here, you can see how similar they all are. The one that's different is this one, the Roma Schmall Hematite Violet. It's really interesting granulation and just a bit of colour separation going on there. Having said that, it is still very similar to Roma Schmall's Caput Mortuum. In the granulation, in the wash, you can see the colours are very similar. In the mass tone, this one has more of that brownish red coming through, and this has more of the darker, more violety brown coming through. But otherwise, so incredibly similar. I really don't see why anyone would need both of these colours on their palette. If you use both in a painting, you probably wouldn't realise you were using 2 different colours in the finished painting, in my opinion. But I guess it depends what you're painting. The Sennelier Caput Mortuum is really pretty. It's very smooth. It doesn't have as much granulation as some of the others, which is pretty typical with Sennelier in general. They're not heavily, even their typically granulating colours don't granulate too heavily. The Winsor & Newton one is quite pretty. White Nights is not too bad with the granulation. The Da Vinci's Violet Iron Oxide has some really pretty granulation as well. So I'd say my favourites are probably the Hematite Violet from Roma Schmall, the Violet Iron Oxide from Da Vinci, and Winsor & Newton Caput Mortuum. Those would be my 3 favourites from those. And then down here, I think Lunar Red Rock is quite a unique reddish brown colour. I do quite like that one. It has some subtle granulation. I will be honest, I thought this one would be more granulating than it is, and I've been a little bit disappointed in the past when I've used it that it doesn't granulate more. But between Daniel Smith's Permanent Brown and Magello's Red Brown, I think I prefer the Daniel Smith one, mostly because you don't get this sort of shininess in the mass tone that you get with Magello. But otherwise, those are my favourites from this set. Let me know what your thoughts are. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.